Difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Yes.
It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream.
Hello and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I'm your host, Stem Valette Sunshine, and I'm so excited to be here with Christy and Keith McPhail.
Yes.
And I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down with me and have this interview. It's such an honor for you guys to have me here.
It's our honor.
I'm really blessed to be among some beautiful people today.
Wow, thank you for that.
Thank you. So let's
We go back a long way.
We do. You coached my sons football
Yes, I
team.
did.
So.
All right.
Yeah, so this is
a few
amazing.
years ago.
Yeah, spring chickens, right? Okay, this is. I want it to be fun, but it's really kind of touchy, with it being Black History Month. So we just want to talk about, first of all, the magazine, the February edition of B Monthly magazine.
Yes. Black History in the Ville.
Yes, and you gotta go get you one. If you
Yes.
haven't picked one up, you gotta get one. Okay, so first of all, I just want to ask, how did you guys get started with B Monthly?
Well, we had a magazine over in Joplin for about 2 years, and it was kind of like a coupon magazine, and so we drove over there 4 days a week.
Oh my gosh.
So an hour and a half just to get
I
there.
was gonna say, how long does it take?
An hour and a half just to get to work.
Okay.
And then we had to leave by 3 to get back home to pick up Gracie before 5. So
Right.
we did that for 2 years.
Wow.
But it was the best thing for us because of our marriage, because we're working together,
Right.
which we'd never done before, besides raising our family of
Right.
7 kids.
Right.
And so we did that for 2 years. Brian Eagle said he bought the Bartlesville Monthly magazine and approached us. We prayed about it for about a week, and
Absolutely.
then we jumped in.
So I know Brian and Jenny, they're my
Yes,
friends.
yes, yes.
Hi, Brian and Jenny.
Yes, what's up?
Yeah, they're amazing people.
Yes.
Yes.
So then you talked to Brian and you guys came on board, and it's just like, he's like, there you go.
Yes.
Well, for the
Yes.
first 6-7 months, I mean, he taught us the ropes.
Right.
But I think God put us over in Joplin to prepare us for B Monthly, because it was amazing. And once we pretty much took over the creative side of it, how it looked, the covers, I started doing all the covers, and then it blew up.
Right, and I am a true believer that God puts us where we're supposed to be.
Amen.
And so I believe that He sets us up for what's to come, right?
Yes.
And so I believe that. So that's amazing. Let's get into the magazine,
Yes.
because I was looking at you guys' interview, and you talked about not knowing. I just didn't know, and the emotions that came with it. So you guys talk to me about what the steps you took to put it together, and all the people you had to access to get their pictures, and what was the process?
Well, I'll start and then you can finish because you have a lot of history with some of these families. But we always go 3 or 4 months ahead of time. So I thought, let's look at 2019 and see what our themes are going to be, what we're going to talk about. And so then I said, let's do Black History Month.
Wow.
In
Because
February.
before it's always been just love,
Yeah, love.
And so while we're there, let's take a moment to stop right there, right?
Yes.
Born and raised in Bartlesville,
Yes.
have never had anything to honor Black History Month in Bartlesville that I can remember.
No.
Right.
And the response that you guys are getting for this has been amazing, right?
So
Not just on your social media, but my social media, all over. It's like, yes, somebody did
Finally,
it. Somebody
finally.
did it, you know?
We're
And
so glad. We're so
kudos to y'all. I tip my hat to y'all, and we appreciate it.
Well,
Well, we appreciate the kind words because we were worried that we weren't going to be able to do it justice, and we still worry about that. I mean, but every year we're going to get
Can't
better
tell.
and better.
That's right.
Every year, and so because now we got you and a whole bunch of other people on our team that are going to help us.
well, and I think also too, it needed to be talked about. There's a lot of history, good and bad,
Right.
that the Black community had in Bartlesville, and we met some amazing people through this process. I've never met Betty Williams in my life.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then being
That's
with,
a first.
Oh,
That's a
are you
first.
kidding me? So I call her Queen Betty.
Yes.
And she's an amazing woman.
Yes.
The whole family's
They
amazing.
are. I love them. I
Oh
love
my
them.
gosh.
They're
And-
my family.
Oh, and
I
so
love them.
as
It's
we
my family.
as we dug into this magazine, into the stories, and then Earlene Thompson, who took care of Christy for over 45 years.
See, I did not know that, and I did not know that till I looked at your
You did
interview.
not?
I had not a clue, and I'm really close to Pam, like really close. And I was like, oh my gosh, so that means we're family.
Yes,
We are. We
Yes.
are.
I know,
Yeah.
and it was so hard. I mean, show that we did, the live show before that, you know, she had just passed away.
Yes.
Like, so you go back and watch that show. I'm just kind of like this the whole show because the timing and everything. But I think too.
Because you would have called her and said, Arlene, who is this person?
We
in this
just
picture?
talked about
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
She would have just. It would have been really easy, and maybe I wouldn't have learned some things and met
Yes.
some people that I needed to meet and learn
That's
some
another
more.
God thing.
It is, and so, and she's, I know, pleased that I did that and that we learned new things.
yeah.
But I'm telling you, we learned how much we didn't know.
So what was your first step? So we knew that we were going to have the Black History Month in February. So you knew that in December. So
Yeah.
so what were your steps to get there?
Well, first thing is the feature. We have to come up with the feature story, which is 6 pages of the magazine, and just start talking about Black history. And,
There was nothing,
no direction.
Yeah, there was. We were like, how do you go? Where do you start? And so we tried to first pick. Okay, let's pick some families that we can highlight, and then it's like, well, no, wait, because if you pick this family, you got to pick this family, and so
And most of these families are entwined
It
together.
is some
yeah.
way
Oh,
or another.
they
Yeah,
are.
it's the truth.
And then, so, you know, started with the feature, of course, but then that changed too. And it does, as it does with each magazine.
And it's such a pretty feature too.
Yeah.
I have to show it off if you
Yes,
haven't
let's
seen
get
it.
a little closer
Yes.
so we can.
This is the west side of Bartlesville looking towards the east. So this was before
Love
Price
it.
Tower was built. So
Love
this was
it.
this is late 40s, right?
And we're
here.
sitting here in Price Tower, so you
Yes.
wouldn't see Price
No,
Tower here.
No, it's not there.
But like with all the other magazines, we think we have a starting point,
Yeah.
and then it just goes
Just
in its
goes.
own direction, and it starts to morph. And that's kind of what this did.
It's the truth because whenever I prepare for my interviews, I like write all these questions down and I'm like balling up, no. And then I just go off the fly because I just want to talk,
Yes.
right? I don't want to have that.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
You never see notes with me on
Yeah.
our shows.
But if it weren't for people like Sharon
Oh.
and for Renee and Ruthie
Debbie
Nash
Neese.
and Debbie Neese at the History Museum, we all, the three of us with her, cried more tears on any.
Yes, we
we've
did.
done how many issues?
22. This is our
Yeah.
22nd issue.
But for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, wow.
Well, like Keith said, you know, there's some good and there's some bad. And
Yeah.
so I'm just thankful to be able to be standing here, standing on some of their shoulders,
Oh.
you know, that paved the way.
Yes.
Even those people here in Bartlesville that we stand on their shoulders.
Yes.
And it was some hard times, but it was some laughing times.
Oh.
I remember sitting talking with my grandmother and sitting and talking with my dad, you know, rest in peace. And he would tell us stories of how they were here and how, you know, he would be barefooted and my uncle would carry him on his feet, but they were so, that didn't matter because they loved one another and it was about the love, right? And so there's a lot of ups and downs, and so you got to experience some of those things.
Well, and I talk, you know, use my parents as a reference. I mean, my dad would always tell the story about Rudolph Nash and playing basketball with him. And he told me, you know, it was him and Rudolph Nash was, I think there was an A team and a B team. But anyway, Dee Ketchum was on that team, and how they had gone to eat in Muskogee after a basketball game, and they wouldn't let him eat there. And my dad said, you know, we all said, which is funny because when we were at the Martin Luther King breakfast, a similar
heard about
story
similar
was
story.
told.
Sure was.
Different time.
So that
My
was a
dad's
different
little bit older.
story?
Yes, different
Oh,
story. My
okay.
dad was a little bit older, and they left, and they just said, "Well, then we're done."
We eat
And
it.
so-
Those people, that's when we talk about together we stand, divided we just fall,
Right.
right? But when we stand together and we come together, this is the start of something good right here. The
Well,
magazine
I mean,
itself.
and it goes on. I mean, you know,
Oh.
it's like that was my dad. Well, then you know, we grew up with Mitch, and so I always knew those kids growing up, and then our kids growing
That's
up,
right.
you know,
That's
and
right.
we felt so connected with so many of these family, not just in our lifetime, but my parents and my grandparents,
it
my
goes back and-
grandmother, and Betty Williams,
Yeah.
and you know, and I think, okay,
Had you known
Yeah.
Betty Williams before? You
and
guys had
I did not know.
Well, we knew of her.
We knew
Right,
of
yeah,
her always,
right, but
had
never
heard
just-
of
Never
her.
met her.
Yes, but it was at Earlene's funeral that my mom kept saying, "Christy, that's Mitty." And I said, "Mom, Mitty, I don't think she
be
would be here."
112.
No, I mean I don't know if she'd
Right,
be, but I don't
right.
think that's her. And
Yeah.
so, but anyway,
God
she
bless
went
her.
up to her and they just embraced, and she said, "Oh, I can't believe it's you." And so they, you know, reconnected. So my mom knew her mom, and that just means a lot to me.
It's those stories in the way that, you know, when we look at black and white, but how we really were connected. I don't care how far back it went.
No.
There were still some good people that said, okay, then if I can't eat here, I'll leave. Not, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and eat. We'll catch y'all later.
Right.
It's like, if they can't eat here with me, I'm gonna go.
Right.
It's
No.
like the story of Ruth Brown, the librarian.
Yes.
Did you read that story?
I did.
I mean, she got fired
Yes.
because she let black people in the
Yes.
library, and
It's
that's
so-
people like that. Because if you look back at when Martin Luther King was walking, there was a lot of white people
There
walking
were.
with him.
There were.
I mean, they believed in the same thing
Right.
he believed in, and
That's
so
right.
it's not breaking blacks and whites apart. It's putting us together, bringing us together as one. Because you know what, God doesn't see us differently.
That's right. He made us all. We all bleed red blood, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
so.
what I said in the magazine.
And it's
We
the
all
truth.
believe
And I
that.
was telling her I hadn't even gotten it, but it's the truth. You're my brother and sister in Christ, right? And I don't
Amen.
look at it. Doesn't matter. You're just a little bit lighter than I am, though.
I
So
tanned-
I'm a
I
little
did
bit.
tan today.
Yeah. Did you? So, but we're all God's children. That's
Amen.
how I look at it. And so.
Amen.
It's just amazing about the magazine. And so, who did you talk to specifically that you, other than Betty, that you were like, wow? Or, you know, how did you come up with the pictures? Where'd you get the pictures?
Okay, and side note, he doesn't even know what you told me about this cover.
Right.
She might be able to help us with some of these people.
Oh, yeah, because I'm really passionate about the covers because I really believe people pick up a magazine because of the cover and they'll keep it
Eye
because of
catcher.
the content.
Yes.
So I looked through over 3,000 pictures to get to this cover, and it's only 2 pictures.
So tell us, how did you collect the pictures?
Well, this is both of them are from the History Museum, and this is a famous Bartlesville picture.
Right.
That you'll
And
see
so-
without
yeah, without the
the men.
men. And so these men were on 3rd Street, sitting in front of a hotel, and so I just had them cut everything out behind them, and you can't even tell that we placed them there. It looks perfect with the Washington County Courthouse right there, and I mean, we colored all the signs to make them look today, what they would look like today.
Very professional.
And we made blue sky because blue sky means freedom.
Yes.
It means getting
Yes.
out there, and that's why I had them put blue sky.
That says that Martin Luther King's his work did not go in vain.
No,
It did not go
no,
in vain.
no.
But
no.
that he wanted this picture, but he kept saying, "How am I going to use this picture?" And he just kept looking at. I mean, 3 o'clock
So,
in the morning, he's
yeah.
looking at the picture, and I'm like, "Ah,
I think
Well-
you should be proud of the time you spent. It was really.
Well, it just shows a lot about Bartlesville and who these men were and what they did. And if you look closely at each of their faces, you can tell their personalities and what they kind of were. You know, this guy's he's the laid back, he's very professional. This guy, you know, he's like me, he's a little troublemaker. You know, when I was in school, I was a little troublemaker, so that's what he looks like. You know what I'm saying?
So
I
he
just
looks like
love that.
he's a funny guy when
Yes,
I laugh.
yes. I just love their
That's
faces.
funny, yeah.
But we did.
They
get
look
this,
amazing.
We got this last Thursday. They presented this to us because we have never not have our magazines up before the first of the month. So last Thursday we got this, and it was just dark. The whole thing was dark, and I actually started crying because it was so
Yeah.
we
emotional.
were anticipating
Right.
it so."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had them reprint 12,000 magazines.
My
Because
God.
my-
Did they give you pushback?
No, because I was so passionate. We were so passionate about it.
Yeah,
I was not going to deliver this out to the public.
It looks good.
So this is a new one, and it's we're
So when you
proud
were
of it.
preparing your stories inside of the magazine, did you have to? I'm sure you had to sit down with some of the families, and was it anything written about them that you pulled in? I mean, I'm trying to see, how did you pull it together?
Well, we asked people like Sharon, first for kind of an outline of like, what do you think, Sharon Westside?
Yeah,
Sharon,
yes, uh-huh.
And asked her, we asked, we kind of had some key people that I knew I could ask and say, okay, what do you think about this direction? And so once we got some names, then we thought, okay, made some phone calls and some,
little pushback.
yeah, that part was kind of tricky, which I
When we say
understand.
pushback, it's like they didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah,
Why
like
do you want to do a
really?
story
Yes.
on our family?
Yeah, like maybe.
Well, you know, and I take that as you haven't done it all these years,
Right,
you know.
right.
So why today? So that's a
Exactly.
part of. I'm glad that you stayed adamant because that's a part of us coming back together.
Yes.
We want to talk about it not because of a bad thing, but because this is a good thing,
Oh, it
and we
is.
want people to know about
And
it. So
this
I'm
will-
shocked to hear that.
Well, and this will go in the History Museum and be archived forever because they I mean, some of these families, they don't have any of their history documented.
Look,
And they don't,
Right.
and
This is
it needs to be
Perfect.
kept.
Ruthie Nash. We all know Ruthie
Yes,
Nash.
yes.
So we were up here one day in the office, and she was up here, and we had all these pictures on the TV saying, "Do you know this person? Do you know who this person is?" Because we want to put names with everybody's picture.
Right.
And this picture came up of her mom and dad, and she had never seen that picture.
And she didn't have a copy of it. Yeah,
Didn't have
no,
a copy
didn't have
of
anything,
it.
yeah.
Knew it existed,
Right,
but
but
never
didn't have it.
Didn't have it. And we had it for her, and she started crying right here in this office.
Those are the wins, Keith.
Yes.
And that
Christy,
just-
those are the wins.
Amen.
That's just God going,
Yes.
okay, keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
It's the
going.
motivation behind it. When she opened that picture, I immediately seen Ruthie and her mom.
Oh,
Isn't that
I
sweet?
immediately
I
seen her
know.
face.
Just,
Yeah.
And then
But yeah, those are the wins.
it causes the conversations to happen, which is what I like. For
oh, you have
people
to tell her about Josie, what we did with Josie. Go ahead and start.
Yeah.
So
talking about
Josie is Josie Olds here in
Yes,
Bartlesville,
yes.
and I went to Greater First Baptist. She went to Greater First Baptist. Grew up under her with her son Jerry.
Yes.
So what was that experience
Well,
like? 'Cause the sweetest lady,
Oh, look
right?
at her! Look at her picture.
Look how pretty she
Are
is.
you
We have to
kidding
show
me?
this.
Look, show
This
that.
is Miss Josie Olds. She's so pretty.
Yes.
Well, we went and met her again with Debbie Neese from the History Museum because they had spoken and they had a relationship. And that was the other thing. Some people we didn't really have a relationship with, and we can't just go, hi, especially if they're at a place like Bartlesville Health and Rehab.
Yeah.
Hi, we're just going to come in.
Yeah, and you're gonna, we
randomly
need you to
talk.
tell us.
Yes, they'd be like, no. And
Yeah.
so we went with her, and she was so great to talk to,
Oh,
and
she
so
is.
gave us,
So
you know,
much knowledge.
how we could get some things from her and some pictures and things and get that documented. And then that kind of just snowballed
But
into
we
another
went and
story.
dug in her. We went and
Yeah.
dug into
We
her
did,
house.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
we did.
yeah.
With
Yes.
Sharon.
Tell what
Yes,
happened.
and then Sharon and Gerald went with us because, you know, she's not there. And
Right.
she said, this is where you'll find it. Go through all these boxes. And we did. I mean,
So she allowed you to go in her house.
And this is the picture that we found. One of the
Of
pictures
her and her
where we went-
husband.
Yes.
Sweet.
Oh, she's
Oh.
so cute.
I know.
But,
Anyway.
and then there was some Greater First Baptist
Ugh.
pictures in there. And then just getting to ask people, like, you know,
I mean, all these people, we never knew who these people were when we were looking at their pictures.
No, and
so,
then like I know who this is Jamie, right?
Yes.
And I know her.
Viola Fletcher when she was young.
That's Viola. Yes,
right
yes.
there. If
Hi,
everybody
Brian.
can see.
Yeah.
So it's been real. And then Aunt Tishy.
Yes.
I think everybody in the black community should know Aunt Tishy.
And
I
she
think they
had
did.
to be in this. You
Yes.
can't make a magazine without it.
no, that's what I was thinking. Like, and no one had a picture of her.
I remember her playing this down so little. I remember
Yes,
her. Yeah.
well, and she definitely had a huge role in so many kids' lives, I feel like, and so I was excited to find that picture. And
She did. They actually started the In Tissue scholarship.
did they?
Yeah, they have a scholarship.
Nice.
Now, if it's still going on, I don't know, but they, you know, she passed away, and then they created that scholarship, and a lot of African American kids, black kids, got to go to school on the scholarship.
Well,
Well,
there's a story we did on Miss Betty, Queen
There
Betty.
she
I
is.
mean, there she is. She's dynamite.
There's Bebo. Yeah.
well, and her daughters, and then of course her son-in-law, just a great man and so helpful to us as
Right.
well. And we were able to just text, or call on him at any time, which
They're amazing people.
yeah, we just appreciate that because we wanted
Well,
to
I
make sure
sent
we're doing
him.
it
I
right.
sent him these covers before anybody else seen them.
Really?
Reverend Paul, yeah, because
That
I
was-
wanted him to give me feedback
Aw.
from the black community,
Yes,
what he
right,
thought,
right.
and everyone I sent him, he loved it. So.
Well, I'm telling you guys, it was a huge deal in this community, and they're still talking about the magazine, right?
Good.
Have you got your magazine? Did you get your magazine?
Good.
Your February edition?
Well, if they
so
can't
so
get
you
it,
guys,
tell them to come
okay.
message us. And we'll
Your
make sure
work
we
was
get one.
not in vain. You know, like I said, I grew up here, and even in school, we didn't get to really have the Black History Month programs, and like they talked about it some, you know, and it's just important that we know about all cultures, our background, Indian, Mexican, it doesn't matter. We
matter.
need to know
Right.
where we come from, you know, and whose shoulders we stand on, and why that's so important. And so I appreciate you guys doing this for me, sitting down with me, and
Oh,
having the conversation. And I'll be sure that you guys make sure you come
Yes.
to get a magazine. If you can't, you can contact Christy or Keith to get the magazine. And
they're out everywhere. I mean, you can't.
so
do
where,
it.
yeah,
And if
so
they want to message us on Facebook, or, you know, however
Yeah.
they can email us, whatever, you can have our contact.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
connect somehow.
We'll
We're gonna
connect.
make sure everyone gets one.
And so I can't wait for next year because you're getting all these connections, right? And it'll be bigger and better every time because you'll meet somebody new, right? You'll know who I know, and then they'll know, you'll know who they know, and it will be bigger and better.
Well, one of the things that we learned, and I know you're about to end, but one of the
That's
things
okay.
that we learned is that the freedmen, you
Yes.
know, and so we're going to talk about that next year.
Yes.
Because that was huge.
It was huge.
With the Native American and the
Yes.
Black community coming
Yes.
together because
You've
they were
got to
all,
do that.
Oh, we are.
Maybe that's your
feature.
the
The
feature
yes.
story.
It's-
Maybe
I
that's
think
the
what's
feature
gonna be,
story.
because that's amazing because Ruthie Nash's mom is Native American.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
and her dad's Black.
Yeah.
And so it's just amazing.
My mother's mother is full-blood Cherokee
Are
Indian.
you kidding?
Full-blood Cherokee Indian, yeah. She was born like without a birth certificate. Like we had to go and find on the reservation. Yeah, so there's
Isn't
a
that
lot
crazy?
of stories,
Yes.
I
you
love
know,
that. I love
throughout
that.
the West Side
Yes.
community, you know, that
Yes.
you can find out about.
I love that.
Yeah, so anything else y'all want to share? Oh, I did want to say this. I'm glad that you guys did it for the fact that whenever Christy, that really stuck with me when you said, I just didn't know. Because when you don't know, you just don't know. But when you know better, you do better.
You do better.
Right?
better.
Yeah.
You
And
do
so when
better.
we share this and people know, it can't be excused that, well, I just didn't know. When
Right.
you know better, we hope that people will do better.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. And there was a lot of Black history, but I have to always brag on this. You have to go read the love story that I wrote
goodness.
to my
Oh,
wife.
is this you guys?
Yeah, that's us in high school when we dated in high school.
Okay.
I remember y'all.
Yes.
Oh, you guys got to read that.
Oh, it's-
Valentine's Day
yes,
is for love.
yes. Anyway.
Oh, so
So-
cute. That's amazing. I can't wait to look through it
Yes,
all. So
yes.
anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for coming, for allowing me in your office
Oh,
today.
anytime.
So much.
We know- we've got
so
the lighting
much.
down.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
did.
love
After
you.
we tore up your office, right?
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you will go and subscribe, like, and share this story everywhere for Black History Month. We look forward to seeing you again on next year. You guys have a blessed day. Don't forget to say your prayers. God bless you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.